Desmond Tutu. Now, I've got a statement from the Most Reverend Dr. Thabo Makgoba, the Archbishop of the Anglican Church in Cape Town and the Metropolitan of the Anglican Church of Southern Africa. He says that it's with great sadness that I have to announce that our dearly beloved Archbishop Emeritus of Cape Town and the 1984 Nobel Peace Laureate Desmond Tutu has died a short while ago at the age of 90. And on behalf of the Anglican Church of Southern Africa, the whole faith community, and I'll make bold to say, on behalf of the millions across South Africa, Africa and the world, I extend our deepest condolences to his wife, Nomalizo Leah, to his son, Trevor Tamsanga, and to his daughters, Tandega, Nontombi and Mpo, and all of their families. While we mourn his passing as Christians and people of faith, we must also celebrate the life of a deeply spiritual person whose Alpha and Omega, his starting point and his ending point, was his relationship with our Creator. He took God, God's purpose and God's creation deadly seriously, and prayer, the scriptures and his ministry to the people God entrusted to his care were at the heart of his life. He believed totally that each one of us is made in the image of God and ought to be treated as such by the others. And this belief was not reached through cerebral contemplation. It arose from his faith and was held with a deeply felt passion. He wanted every human being on earth to experience the freedom, the peace and the joy that all of us could enjoy if we truly respected one another as people created in the image of God. Because he believed this, and because he worshipped God, he feared no one. He named wrong wherever he saw it, and by whomever it was committed. He challenged the systems that demeaned humanity. He could unleash a righteous a righteous anger on those, especially the powerful, who inflicted suffering upon those the Bible calls the least of these, my brothers and sisters. And when the perpetrators of evil experienced a true change of heart, he followed the example of his Lord and was willing to forgive. This is Archbishop Thabo Makgoba. He says that Desmond Tutu's legacy is moral strength, moral courage and clarity. He felt with the people in public and alone. He cried because he felt people's pain, and he laughed. Not just laughed, he he cackled with delight when he shared their joy. In accordance with his instructions, the church will plan his funeral and other memorial services with the generous support of the South African government and the city of Cape Town. And the details of these events to be held under South Africa's COVID regulations will be announced later. And in the meantime, let us prayerfully remember him by the epitaph he once chose for himself. He laughed, he cried, he loved. In the words of the prayer which his mentor and friend Archbishop Trevor Huddleston first composed and he then adapted as he extended his ministry from South Africa to the world. This is a statement by the Office of the Anglican Archbishop of Cape Town, Reverend Thabo Makgoba. And we continue to get more reaction on the passing of Archbishop Desmond Tutu. And we now joined on the line by the spokesperson of the Desmond Tutu and the Leah Legacy Foundation. And this is Nicholas Matseke. Very good morning to you, Nicholas. Thank you so much for joining us, and a warm welcome to Morning Live. First of all, would you confirm the passing of Archbishop Desmond Tutu?
Yes, I can confirm that, and I'm actually with him and Auntie Leah as we speak.
All right. Now, you just take us through, the final hours. I know it's still too early to process the news. I know that the family is still shocked at the passing of the Most High Reverend. But then just the days leading to his death, how has the family, been processing this?
The family has been obviously knowing that this is the inevitable thing that must happen, and it's more that it's given them all a great opportunity to show their love to the Father, and for him to accept his destiny, and you could tell in the recent week that he's been at peace.
I know that Archbishop Desmond Tutu left an indelible mark in everybody's hearts and in everybody's minds, and he means a lot to so many people and in so many different ways. So how would the foundation like people to remember him?
Well, I think in my role as the chairman of the Legacy Foundation, it's so important for us as servants of their legacy to make sure that the legacy of the Tutus, including Antilleas, is being remembered, is being understood, is being displayed. And it's not only for us South Africans, but it's also for the rest of the world. And seeing the reactions in Canada or in Israel or in Sweden when Father has been there, showing his understanding for those folks and their struggle and their pain and been embracing their challenges and showing the South African Ubuntu, it becomes very clear how profoundly huge impact this man has had on the people of the world.
Yes.
And I think that is very important to remember a day like this, when this great South African patriot also leaves a huge vacuum for the rest of the people of the world.
I mean, he played so many different roles. He was, a Nobel Peace Prize recipient, and he was also appointed the chairperson of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission a year after the attainment of majority rule. And to this day, this commission has been credited, for having sought, charted a way insofar as providing reparation to those who've been affected and afflicted by the atrocities of the apartheid regime. So in terms of that legacy, what do you think the legacy would be in terms of those who benefited from this Truth and Reconciliation Commission?
Well, there is always challenges when we're dealing with level of oppression and horrible injustice. But it's very clear that Father, as the leader, as the chair, has used more focus, energy, and love in order to be just that, to be just, to be fair, and to try to ease pain for other people. And I think that when we look at what he has accomplished, it's really the inspiration of leadership, of true leadership, when someone can embrace other people's pain so genuinely that he cries himself, he cracks himself, and he eases the pain for other people. And I think that's one of the main things of this champion of healing.
Yeah, sure. Healing was the focus of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, and this commission has been credited, of course, for having recognized that to err is human, but to forgive is divine. I mean, forgiveness is a very, very important social construct that we all need to embrace. And given the polarization that South Africa sees and witnesses, do you think that the work of the TRC has charted a way forward in terms of helping people to forgive one another?
I think it's difficult to say. It depends on who you are and where you come from, but certainly for some people, yes. But I think that more importantly is to see the ambition and the determination and the commitment made by the leaders, made by the Arch, in order to reach that point where you do reconcile, where you do understand, and where you do listen to others. And in a country that is polarized, as South Africa is, you can also see that the world is polarized. This challenge, this problem is all over the world. You can go to almost any country and you can see that the world is in a mess. And we do need, more than ever, the inspiration of the Arch today. And I think this is, for us, an opportunity to remember him, to honor him in a way where we all try to do small things in order to listen to others and to try to understand, because that's the first step in order to reconcile and to heal.
Nicholas, we know that death is a very painful thing to stomach and to process. And at the same time, death, it's often said that death unites families and it unites people. Do you think that Desmond Tutu's passing will unite the nation in a way?
I truly hope so. I truly hope so. And I think that in the recent weeks when people have started to understand that the inevitable day will come, we have seen the love. We've seen the love. And I sat with Auntie Leah just on Christmas Eve, and we shared a lunch, and it would be for her to say that never did I expect this amount of love coming my way, and it's the caring of other people that Father brings out. It's the best inside of all of us, and that has been very rich, very profound. And I think now, when the rest of the world gets this sad news, it's very likely that it will bring a very strong, positive avalanche of love. And I truly hope so.
Yeah. Now, Nicholas, the words that I will never forget, the words that he uttered, he said that, "I wish I could shut up, but I can't, and I won't." And I suppose this forms, a backbone of his legacy. And after Nelson Mandela's ANC was elected back in 1994, and he continued his bold legacy as a feisty and a fearless megaphone for moral rectitude, and never hesitating to call out South Africa's, governing black majority party if he believed that they crossed ethical lines or even failed to put the needs of the suffering. And he ruffled so many feathers. Hey.
No, absolutely, and this is also how he inspires everyone else. If you are the poor gentleman sitting at the curve of the road, or if you are a president of a nation, Father would speak to you the same way, and he will convey the same message. We cannot accept injustice. We cannot accept people being bullied or being diminished. We need to, in our own actions, search for fairness, equality, fighting racism, and showcasing that in our own actions. And I always said that spending a day or two next to Arch makes every person a better person. And it's because of the inspiration we see, we feel his actions. And yes, he would never shut up. And I'm very happy for that.
Yeah, he'd never shut up. And, so many religious leaders, including himself, Desmond Tutu himself, have often been blasted for having merged politics and religion. Yet those two narratives and constructs, go hand in hand, and they can't live without the other.
That is true. It can't live without the other. But and it's the leadership role is not easy, and the one that Father has taken and lived through his entire life is probably one of the most difficult of them all. To be the moral leader, because it puts such enormous pressure on himself, and only with a very strong support system around him, he can bounce back, because he must break down. And that's where you see Auntie Leah being one of the greatest and strongest and most loving rocks to always make sure that them as a team could bounce back and continue the journey for justice and equality. That's a very impressive woman.
Yeah. And I suppose the friendship between Desmond Tutu and the Dalai Lama is something that people will always talk about. And this is an extraordinary friendship, and to a point where they came together in penning the Book of Joy to teach anyone how to find lasting happiness in a changing world.
Yes. No, that is very true. And I was just coming from the peace lecture in Oslo, where we showcased the film, The Joy, that's going to come out in 2022, and it gives motions, colors, laughs, and laughters to the most difficult and tough topics that is based on the book. And obviously here you can see that there is a friendship where they are curious on each other, and there is love. There is a huge amount of respect. But there is also basic humanity, just becoming very comfortable and with each other. And I remember the Dalai Lama, his office reached out to me, and he said, we need to have the dialogue open. We need to have the dialogue going with the people of the world now when they feel so much stress over the COVID situation. And I would like to speak back to them to honor them with our thoughts. But communication, as we know, is not only the words, it's also how you convey it. And Father is probably one of the greatest to make sure that people listen and they take in what's being said. So the Dalai Lama wrote the words, sent it to me to bring it to Father so he could read it to the world. And that happened. So there is, you'll find it somewhere on social media, on YouTube, I think, where Father sits and reads the words of the Dalai Lama. And it's profoundly strong how they bring back their love from two different continents during lockdown to the people of the world to make sure that we hear you, we see you, we feel with you, stay strong, be positive.
Okay, Nicholas, great chatting to you, man. Thank you so much for sharing your reflections with us. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, thank you. That was Nicholas Quailstrom Matseke, the spokesperson of the Desmond Tutu and the Leah Legacy Foundation. And he's just been sharing his reflections and recollections of the legacy of the late Archbishop Desmond Tutu. All right, now we'll be chatting to the Archbishop of the Anglican Church in a moment. And Lebo, we'll be speaking to him now. Lebo, over to you.